Politico reports that this new U.S. defense strategy draft could shift focus from the China threats to domestic priorities. Is this a reasonable assessment, as we have seen the Trump administration championing policy to deter Beijing?
I would want to take a step back from the Political report and also highlight reporting from Ken Moriatsu at Nikkei Asia from a few weeks ago or a week or two ago, where he actually had a similar report talking about the national defense strategy, which also highlights that, much like the Political report, says that it was heavily influenced by Vice President Vance, especially when it comes to restraint, as well as sort of the mutual focus on defensive realism that both Vance and Undersecretary Colby both have. Even though I do think the Political report is important to highlight, there are conflicting reports about what this actually means. So, for example, the Nikkei Asia report talks a lot about wanting to draw on Munich Security Conference speech that was made by Vice President Vance earlier this year. It also emphasizes homeland defense in this report, but also says that China is a priority, specifically a strategically vital challenge. That said, if the reports that are coming out from Politico are true and that isn't correct, it really does highlight the importance that Taiwan needs to really get moving on focusing on its, ramping up its own security.
If such a shift is really underway, how might it affect the Indo Pacific security?
I think it can affect Indo-Pacific security in a bunch of different ways, right? And if you look at how historically over the last 10 years, so going back even to the Obama administration, from 2009 to 2017, some of the different discussions that were happening related to Indo-Pacific security have always been to the forefront, right? So, for example, one common thread for the last four administrations, or the last two, Trump administrations, Biden administration, and Obama administration, has been a desire to want to make or prioritize the Indo-Pacific, right? But the United States getting pulled into other conflicts around the region. So it's been one example of how consistently this has impacted the region. But if you do pull away from some of those security commitments around the region, you also lose leverage because there's less of a security guarantee for those partners. If there's less of a incentive to want to hold on to that alliance, or the security guarantees are kind of viewed in a shaky way, or there's less confidence, then it's up to countries like South Korea, Japan, or even Taiwan to push more for its own defense development. So I think those are the immediate impacts that you could see if some of the reporting from Politico is correct.
How should Taiwan respond to the reported strategy shift?
I do think that what Taiwan needs to do going forward is continue to engage with the administration in every way possible. That means having tough conversations, which I'm sure are already happening behind the scenes, for the way that the administration views the region, including views Taiwan itself, right? I also think that that means that Taiwan needs to continue to diversify its partners. So that can mean anything from, talking with other partners about developing dual use technologies together, to thinking of ways that Taiwan can continue to receive training or boost its own defense capabilities in an internal manner. I also think, lastly, that it should be as a wake up call that Taiwan should really continue to move forward on many of the different defense reforms and defense accelerants that have been happening